Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, thank you for being here today, Marty. Do we have additions or deletions? Okay. Anybody registered to comment on action items? Nope. Moving right into number 1, opportunity for public comment on the Tri-Creek School Corporation Board of School Trustees, Tri-Creek Teachers Organization bargain agreement for the 25-26 school year.
Okay, if I could go over the changes here that we were happily agreed to here on our contract for the 25-26 school year. So this is a 1-year agreement with our teachers union, and I've got it up here on screen. I'm gonna spin through it to our first change, which is 15 pages deep. We don't have any change to our recognition or the parties or the bargaining unit type thing. So let me go forward till I get to here. Sorry, just don't look at the screen.
Too late.
It won't make you sick here. Let's see. So this is posted on our website too as required. So maternity leave is the first thing that we changed. This language here highlighted is exactly what's in code. So code changed this year and we just took the language and threw it in here. So it allows the teacher to take up to 1 full year from the commencement of pregnancy, provided that they give at least 30 days notice to the superintendent to 1 year following the birth. So it gives them extended benefits there. And again, this mirrors exactly what's in code. Under caregiver leave, we made one adjustment as highlighted here, that they can transfer up to 5 sick days to personal business days. This was just clarifying language here that we needed in there. So not much of a change at all to that language. Next one here is deleting this phrase right here about our contribution for our 401A. We are contributing 2.5% of the 401A into a 401A. The language here is excluding the 3% contribution to the Indiana State Teachers Retirement Fund. This is old language that kind of existed in our contract that didn't apply because our plan documents with our VALIC holders don't have that language. So it was just language that we needed to clean up, because they do get their 2.5% based on that. The next major change here is a voluntary retirement buyout and separation incentive here. So this is an incentive that we're offering from now until January 31st, 2026 that a teacher can take advantage of. So this is a buyout of teachers that have had 20 years or more of total teaching experience at Tri-Creek School Corporation as of the end of this school year. So they have to be a full-time member of the bargaining unit, the program limits and benefits amounts. So the total amount allocated to this is $150,000 for the 25-26 school year, and it's eligible for 5 teachers, $30,000 each teacher. And this is a payment into a VIVA or their 401A, their choice. As long as they give us notice that they want to retire or separate from the school district with their 20 years of service here at Tri-Creek, they can have that to bridge to retirement or to use as they see fit. This money here, the $150,000, is being paid out of a fund here that we have at the school district that is remaining bond funds from the pension bonds in 2009. We have no obligations necessary for these bonds, and they could be used for retirement incentives like this. So literally, it's not costing the district anything other than using the bond money that we've had since 2009 in a fashion to potentially reap some savings here in the school district. So they have to send us a note by January 31st that they would like to take advantage of this buyout. And their employment will end on June 30th, 2026. The next change here is for medical contributions towards our medical plan. We had a 4% increase in our premiums through our insurance trust, to which we agreed to split that with the employee, 2% on the employee, 2% on the corporation. So the figures that you see here are adjusted to reflect those 2%. Basically, it comes down to about a 90% contribution to a single plan, 80% to a family plan here in Tri Creek. Moving forward, just a date change here for the first payroll of the school year. And the next change here is for under homebound instruction. The language always stated reimbursement for homebound instruction shall be for the actual student contact hours and the teacher's normal base hourly rate based on their per diem divided by 6 hours. So it says take their daily rate and divide it by 6, and that's the hourly rate that you use, which technically teachers work 7.5 hours a day. So we're striking that 6 language and going with the 7.5 hours, which is their true day. Next thing is when it comes to salary placement, we have to have statements of where our salary range was before the contract started and after the increase, how much it was. So the language changed for after the increase to a starting pay rate of $48,750 up to $89,798. So that's the low and the high on our teacher scale after the increase. And then the next thing is the qualifiers for compensation salary base increase here. The item that's changed here would be under education factors. So teachers get, they have the ability to get an increase based on 2 factors here, education factor and academic need. Academic need stays the same as the language we've always had, that there's an index on the teacher grid and multiplying that by the base that changed, that $48,750 right there is our new base. So we're going up from $48,500 to $48,750 for a starting teacher. The next thing that changed is education factor. Education factor here, if a teacher levels up their educational degree from, like, let's say bachelor's to a bachelor's plus 15 or bachelor's plus 15 to a master's, that's called a lane change or a column change in our grid. So the language changes to that they're moving 2 columns to the right, which would result in $1,462 added to their base pay. This will make more sense with the next paragraph down here. This paragraph is completely new. This is a requirement by the state to honor the literacy endorsement on teachers' on their certified license. So if they have that literacy endorsement, we had to do a differentiated pay for them, and it had to be a meaningful base pay increase. So we have another column in there, and you'll see it at the end when I bring up the teacher grid here. So additionally, a teacher who's earned that literacy endorsement will move 1 column to the right. We have literacy endorsement columns in there now. And they'll get a salary increase of $97 that will stay on their base salary and compound over years as we get more and more increases on there. So I believe, other than dates, that is the last change in here, just updating 24-25 to 25-26. So let me speed through here, don't look at it. And salary grid, which is probably not so easy to see on this screen, but you can see you've got a bachelor's plus the literacy endorsement in the white, bachelor's plus literacy endorsement here. These are the indexes, and then you've got bachelor's plus 15 in the literacy endorsement. So we went from 5 columns to 10 columns because we had to add the literacy endorsement difference on there. Average teacher increase is around $1,814 added to their base, which is a 2.73% increase. The increases ranged from 2.18 up to 3.53. Depending on where they are in the scale, but the average was 2.73. This total package in salary was $285,000. When you add benefits to it. It's well over 340,000. The insurance benefit alone, taking on that 2% increase is about $40,000 too on there. So that is the rundown of the contract. Any questions? We have, we at this point, we can take comment on that if there's any comment from. No comments?
All right.
Okay.
So,
Any concerns from the board?
No, I think a lot of effort was put into this. I mean, I don't know what the teacher's side was, but I'm sure it was very involved. And I want to commend all those involved for doing such a great job. We have such an unknown future financially, and still being able to give the teachers the best that we can do, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring. I think everybody needs to be commended for that.
We started pre-bargaining, in July-ish, had meetings throughout the summer, with a very small group, union leadership. And, by the time we actually got to the table, what was it, 3 hours that we spent negotiating? Roughly, so it was a quick, easier process because we did the homework ahead of time. So, it was great working with the union. As always, I thank them for their help on this.
And there's a good trust factor, because if they didn't trust what you were doing and saying, it wouldn't have been resolved as quickly as it
It went
was.
well.
and we've tightened so many belts in all these areas to try to be able to provide some sort of an increase. So, there's been a ton of work in all areas to make this still continue to happen, despite what the state financial climate is. So, well done.
And
So-
others need to understand that buyout for the 5 teachers, sure, it sounds $150,000 going out, but the money it will save bringing in younger, less experienced, unfortunate for us, but that's the way we need to look at things today. It is going to be a savings long-term.
So we're not allowed to ratify this evening. Statute says you have to have, so the ratification would be at the next scheduled school board meeting.
It gives us lots of time to discuss it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We do have an meeting that we're going to check for compliance with them next week, so
Okay.
that's another step, just
Good.
Okay, number 2, I'll need a motion for resolution number 2025-09 to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Dana?
As presented at the last board meeting, pretty extensively, my board presentation, sorry about that, but
That was fantastic.
don't give me a microphone in a crowd, I'm just telling you. So this transfer amount, education to operations fund is 2.6 million. It's part of the budget process, and it is 10.48%. Of course, we're supposed to be mindful of not transferring more than 15%. Previous year was 7.65%, so we are up, and this is to help offset some of the circuit breaker loss that we're going to see, where it's going to be $1,863,000 in circuit breaker loss due to SEA 1, Senate Enrolled Act 1. So that's the resolution before you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, resolution number 2025-10 concerning adoption of the bus replacement plan, budget year 2026. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Dana?
Bus replacement plan, we don't have any buses on the replacement plan for 2026, but we're required to pass a plan that shows future years just for budgeting purposes for 27, 28, 29, and 30. So that's what's before you. No purchase of buses out of the operations fund for 2026 because we're purchasing them out of general obligation bonds.
And once again, this was extensively discussed at our last board meeting. All right, any other discussions or questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, resolution number 2025-11 concerning adoption of the capital projects plan, budget year 2026.
This-
Motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Go ahead, Dana.
This is our capital projects plan. It's a 3-year plan. It lists anything that we could possibly think to purchase that's $10,000 or more. Whether or not this will be followed through depends on the cash flow of funds and everything. But we have to pass a plan, so
Yep.
here it is before you.
All right, any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, I'll need a motion for resolution number 2025-12 for appropriations and tax rates, budget form 4, concerning the adoption of the 2026 advertised budget rates and levies as required by Indiana state statutes. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Dana?
Okay, so this is Form 4, which is all of our rates, our levy, and our adopted budgets. It's been displayed on our website, it's in Gateway, and we've met all the statutory requirements for that. So adopted budget for debt service, $15,331,275. School pension debt, $94,184. Education fund, $25.5 million education fund budget, and operations, $9,766,008 for a total of $50,691,467. Total tax rate there shows $1.1219. Advertised high, just so that it can be reduced during the budget review process to account for any issues that might come about due to calculations in net assessed value by the county or anything like that. I do anticipate, our current tax rate is $1.55. I do anticipate that our tax rate will be right around $1.04. It'll actually dip because we had an increase in our assessed value here, yet we were limited and couldn't issue any debt to fill in that gap like we have been doing because we're over the statutory limit for that. So I do anticipate this will dip this year. In future years though, since we will be budgeting towards a levy, a dollar amount that we need, that tax rate will be climbing or will be going up in all entities due to the net assessed value going down from Senate Enrolled Act 1.
And this is something we do every year to
Yes.
set our budgets and get it approved by the state. It's nothing new that we're throwing in there, we're
Correct.
asking for. And so this year, we're asking, actually, we get to go a little lower on that rate. For the levy purpose next year, the numbers might look different, but the final amounts are gonna be about the
Right.
same.
Right.
Yeah.
Budgets will be trimmed.
Yeah.
Even more so, but yes, unfortunately, out of our hands, the tax rate will start climbing.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor to approve resolution 2025-12? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, great work on everything that you've done the last month, well, and before. You've ran the last 2 board meetings and lots to fill us in on, so thank you. I know it's been a lot of time. All right, public comment not related to action items, not tonight. Okay, questions and comments from the board? Okay, meeting adjourned.